Hi, I'm disability lawyer David Brannon. In this video, I'm going to touch on a touchy subject on why I might be rude to you as your lawyer at the CPP Disability hearing. So after watching this video, you'll know why this type of thing could happen and what everyone could do to work together to make sure it doesn't. Now, if you like this video, please hit that like button and leave us some comments down below. Love to see the comments, and we always reply. And if you want to keep seeing these videos every week, just hit the subscribe and bell notification and you'll get notice when we put these things out. So I'm always scouring YouTube looking for ideas for doing these videos, and I ran across a video produced by an American attorney on who does Social Security Disability in the United States, and he had a video called "Why I Might Be Rude to You at a Hearing." Now, I know that seems like clickbait, but he got me. I clicked on it and watched the video, and I was like, yes, I can completely identify to that. So I've said I have to do this video. People think lawyers can be rude sometimes. I'm not a rude guy. I'm a likable guy. I'm nice to my clients. I'm gonna treat you with respect. But there are times where I can be seen as being rude to my client at a hearing. These would be a Social Security Disability hearing where you're presenting your case to the judge. So why does this happen? The thing to understand is at these Social Security Tribunal hearings, you have a limited time to present your case. So these hearings generally run about 90 minutes, with the first 15, 20 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes, eaten up just by introductions, reading the rules, coming up with an opening, this kind of thing. So you're left with like an hour or so to present your case, and that's not a lot of time. The tribunal judge is there wanting to know things. You have to make sure you're focused and focus on the things that judge is going to want to know. Part of our strategy is working with you to identify these are the areas the judge is going to want to know about. We have to focus on these at the hearing. The problem I run into sometimes is, even though we prepare that way, some clients really want the hearing to be a time where they can just tell everything. It's the kind of situation where, and I warn clients now, much more careful about warning in advance. When I ask you a question, please do not answer that question and then, like a politician, pivot and then go into this big long tirade on this subject. That is not effective, and you can even see the judge deflating when this type of thing happens. Some people will do that because they're nervous and it's kind of a rambling and just talking, and they feel like they have to get it all out in one big swoop. That is never effective. So we've gotten around this by really practicing a lot with clients ahead of time, by doing signposting, which is a technique where we say, okay, now we're going to talk about your work history, and after that we'll move on to something else. But right now we're going to talk about your work history. So then we ask questions about work history, and if the client starts to go off topic, I say, oh, whoa, sorry, we're still on the work history. Let's bring it back. We'll get to that later. Signposting I've found is very effective to try to keep people on topic. Now, this isn't something that most people do. Most people will follow the lead and agree ahead of time on how to orchestrate this thing. It's like putting on I don't want to say it's putting on a play, but it is a production. You're putting on a presentation, and you do need it to be coordinated and in sync. When one person is going this direction and the other person is trying to take it over here, it's a disaster, right? And realize, okay, this is not a time for me just to tell everything that I want to get off my chest. I have to focus on what is important to that judge. When you do that, that judge is going to be engaged. They want to know these things. They love it when we can anticipate in advance what they want to know. And it's a relief because they don't want to have to sit there and try to maintain their attention, listen to 40 minutes of things that they're not even interested in hearing about, and then try in the last bit to ask you questions to dig out the information that they want. So you don't want that to happen. What you want to have happen is in the beginning, I will lay out to the judge, and any representative might do this, you could even do it yourself. You lay out ahead of time, these are the things we're going to focus on. I tell the judge that in advance so they know, okay, breathe, sigh, relief. Sometimes the judge will say, well, I also want to know about this. I'm like, perfect, we'll add that to our list. And then we focus on what the judge wants to know, the things they need clarified. It needs to focus on what's important to the judge, and if you're going off on tangents, you have to ask, why am I doing this? Like, am I doing this because it feels good for me and I want to get this off my chest? That is not really the reason to do it. If your goal is to win CPP disability, you need to focus on what's important to the judge and make sure you're clarifying what they want to know. So that is what you need to know about why a lawyer or representative might be rude to you at the hearing. They're not necessarily a bad person. They're just trying to keep you on track because they want to give the best presentation possible. And the best presentations are always about what is in the judge's mind, what's the judge want to know, what do they expect, and what incentives do they have. Now, if you like this video, please hit the like button. Put your comments below, especially if you disagree with anything I've said here. I'd love to hear your comments, or if you agree, that's great too. And also hit the subscribe and bell notification. You'll get notice of these videos, which we put out a few times a week. Good luck with your case, and we look forward to seeing you back next time.